Have you ever been a part of a church split, and why was it your fault?
Yes, I've been part of a church split. No, it was not my fault. So in my early 20s, I was part of a church split.
Okay.
And
Story time. Names.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to give names of the church or people involved or those kind of things. But in general, so it was in the church that I was in, that particular church had a very conservative pastor for just years and years and years.
Okay.
And so it was a denominational church, and so they had these conservative kind of evangelical pastors for a long time. And that was kind of always the church, like that's who they were as a church,
mm-hmm.
right? And then the denomination decided to, when they moved that pastor from there, to put in another pastor, and that pastor was very liberal and progressive in their theology and doctrine.
Okay.
And it went over like a lead balloon. And so it led to, pretty heavy disagreements. The church, and this is kind of, again, kind of getting back to like this kind of the worship flavor can have a part in this too. The church had really become a lot more casual as a church. Now, people, I say that, I mean, so this is early 2000s, people were still, you'd still have people, at times wearing suits and things like that to church. Like that was still, fairly common. But and they would sing hymns, but they were also singing contemporary songs. They like the high liturgy stuff was no longer present. And so, like, in other words, you didn't have like people coming up. You didn't have like the acolytes lighting the candles. You didn't. So like all the liturgy stuff was kind of removed from it. There wasn't the reciting of the Apostles' Creed every week and that kind of thing. And so, and then this new individual was put in. They were progressive liberal in their theology, and they wanted to kind of go back to more of a high church or at least high liturgy kind of feel. And so, wearing the robe, here we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And within a matter of 6 months, the church went from, let's say, I mean, it wasn't a big church. Let's say like 120 or so, members to 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, so
the whole church was leadership by the end.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the whole church was, it just
bunch of guys and their wives
sitting around. Yeah. And it was this, it was heartbreaking for us. So my wife's family, that was the only church my wife had known as like a local home church. And
forever?
So she had grown up there.
Oh.
Yeah. So she grew up there, so all of her family had been there for decades. So it was, her godparents were there, aunts and uncles were leaving that church was just heartbreaking. And so, no, it was incredibly sad what all happened and transpired. And it's one of those, I just hate it. So, yep. And that church actually no longer exists right now. So
cool.
Well, I don't know if it's cool or not, but
or not cool.
Yeah. So it's sad. The building is still used as a church, but actually a different denomination has that building now. So, yeah. Yeah. So, so that's what I was a part of. How about you?
Oh boy. All right, here we go.
Your story time. I want to just sit back and just relax and listen.
So first one was when I was like,
wait, did you say first one? You got multiple?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
First one was when I was 6. My parents met at the church. The guy that my mom liked and the guy that my dad liked, because they came from New York and Tennessee.
Okay.
Met because 2 guys started a church in Florida.
Okay.
Which is why Florida. And then they got mad at each other over something. I was too young to know.
Right.
And I think it was theological stuff. And or business stuff or something not really that important. And we split with my mom guy, and that church stopped existing after like 3 years.
Okay.
Then we went to a different church, and I think pastor had an affair.
Okay.
So that church split, and then we stayed with the church because they kicked the pastor out, but then a bunch of people were mad and left anyway. And that church stopped existing after a couple years.
Okay.
And then we went to a church that had split off from a different church, and then we moved.
Okay.
And came up here to Georgia, and the first church that we went to split. I don't know any of the reasons why that split, but it split, and then we continued to go to the same place, and then that church ended in like 2 years.
Okay.
And then we went to a different church that split to form another church with a different church.
Okay.
So they wanted to go start a second branch of some other church instead of be at the church that we were at.
Okay.
And we stayed at the at the church that was already there.
Right.
And then that church closed in like 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And then we went to a different church that was the first church that the previous church we went to had split off from. And that guy cheated on his wife, and a bunch of people left, and now it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's church splits for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
So you wonder why I don't like church. And that's why. Next question.
Nate has his church issues. Yeah, I'm just... That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've really never been in a church like for like years at a time.
Oh, and then I forgot when after I met you, but I don't know if we should talk about that because that was more church splitting.
Yeah.
So that was fun. So it's like 6 maybe.
Right.
It's 5 or 6 church splits that I've had fun with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was not like part of the split. Or the one you're talking about.
Well, I wasn't either, but
yeah.
But that's because I stayed far away enough because I figured it was bound to happen at some point. Because that's just how it goes.
But hey,
and then you're like, why don't you come all the time? Well, if I get too involved.
Yeah, but to go on record, so like the church I'm pastoring now is 195 years old.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
Like we've got a pretty good track record.
I think
a pretty good track record.
I think I might be the problem.
You're the common
at this point. I'm the common denominator.
So even when you were like 6, you were the issue.
It was my fault.
I wonder how many people sit around and go, I wonder if that was my fault.
Yeah. I just would shout things like, abortion!
Nate!
And just see what happened.
Right.
You know?
Then a church was split.
Homos! Here we go. Just see what happened, everyone. Just try to start theological fights.
Well, if you're doing that, you are the problem.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
I was 6.
Yeah. But even in later years, you still weren't screaming random things. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I just came less and less and less and less, and it was like,
right, I'm out.
And here we are.
Here we are.
It's going to take me 10 years of this church still existing while I come sometimes to think, maybe this one will stick it out.
Hey, this was going to work, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this was going to work. We're going to be all right.
Anyway, church splits.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not fun.
No.
No.
I mean, it's like whatever at this point. Like
you've become numb to it.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? But is that like a thing? Like you really are just kind of like almost like, oh, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Man, I hope that's not the case with the church I'm at now. Like,
I mean, I hope not.
I feel really good about it. Again, 195 years. It's a pretty strong track record.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time, dude.
I mean, technically, technically, you did have a church split.
What do you mean?
With the UMC.
Oh, well, we did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. That's true. That's true.
So.
Yeah.
It's already happened once.
That's all right. But literally 100% vote of we're out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. It wasn't like the people. It was just.
Yeah.
we're not going to receive your mail anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. That 2.5 years ago that did happen. So
Yep.
yeah, we're good though.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
We're fine. It's gonna be fine.
Sure thing.
It's gonna be fine.
Absolutely.
No problems here.